Right, so on the 14th of April, Metallica just dropped their 11th studio album, minus the funky stuff. And I was one of the people that thought the singles were quite lacking. I enjoyed Lux Eterna, but all of the longer songs, particularly like If Darkness Had a Sun, had a lot of, composition issues. As I'm sure you've seen a bunch of people point out, you've probably seen the dialogue that occurred around these songs when those singles came out. However, now that the full album is out, we can all safely say the singles were sort of the worst of the bunch for some reason. And one of my favorites have been Shadows Follow. And I think that the things that were poorly done on some of the singles were done much better in that song particularly. So I wanted to give a little reaction / analysis sort of breakdown thing to give my thoughts on the song. And straight away that riff just has a lot more energy. It's a bit faster, it's not just power chords. It sort of sounds like something that could be on Justice, to be honest. So they've moved it up in the key. And then sort of stripped down build. And then main riff. So one of the big issues about a song like If Darkness Had a Sun, they're basically spending too much time on the more boring riffs, and then a good riff comes up and they just glaze over it really quickly. So with this, I mean, that's a cool intro riff. And the riff, has a bit more substance. Again, how I said, it's not just straight power chords, And it doesn't feel like too many repetitions. It doesn't drag on. It doesn't just have chuggy chug riffs. It's sort of just mid-tempo that sort of just drag on. The song has a good momentum. It just keeps going. So these are the verses. And then back into main riff. Just 2 repetitions of that. And then verse 2. Little leading riff there. And what's good about that part is it's short and sweet. It's just to the point. It does what it needs to do. It leads into that pre-chorus, and it doesn't drag on. It just does what it needs to do. Just gets you to the next part. It's got a good pre-chorus and chorus. The vocal melodies here, I like them. And it actually got stuck in my head after, which is not something that happened for many of those singles. So yeah, I enjoyed the vocal melodies there. Taking us back to that verse riff, leading riff again. It's there's way less fluff, Middle section here. Then we get introduced to a new riff. And I really like how they build on this idea later in the song. And here's the first chuggy riff. A lot of the other songs it was mostly chug. So here it actually does the job of sounding heavy and giving us that break from sort of the more thrashy, I guess, stuff. And here we have an actual melody. A lead part with melody. All the guitar harmonies and stuff on this album are really good. It's you take an idea and you build on it. It's a consistent musical idea. And then the solos, it is what it is with these ones. They're all sort of got the same issues that I'm sure you've heard many people talk about already, so I don't need to go over what we got here. And that's what I was talking about earlier with them sort of elaborating on this idea. I thought at first it was octaves, which would have made it even cooler, but that sounds like it'd be more of a Kirk sort of idea, but no, I like it. It adds a bit of having that higher timbre within a chuggy riff. It's a nice sort of change. Anytime they do anything outside of the standard modern Metallica tropes on this album are really good. It's like every time that they do something unique, out of the norm, it always sounds cool. Building on that leading riff. Then we got the final pre-chorus chorus. Little variation on the chorus for the last run, and then back into that chuggy riff, and then they do that again. And at this point, we've only seen that riff once, well, that version of the riff once, so it's still new and fresh, you know. And there we go. Yeah, so we had riffs that weren't just straight power chords. You know, that intro riff was sort of just to see. We had that leading riff that was short and sweet to the point. Good catchy pre-chorus, chorus. The song just flowed quite nicely, because when we compare it to something like If Darkness Had a Sun, these songs are way longer than they should be. It's sort of similar to the way Saint Anger was written, in the fact that all the songs are a bit undercooked. They feel like they could use a bit more time in the studio to make them more concise, to the point, like less fluff, less repetitions of stuff we don't need, especially when the riffs are just sort of standard chuggy stuff. Like, that's one of the biggest things that helped this song, Shadows Follow. The riffs were interesting. They're the building blocks of your song. If the basis of your song isn't that interesting, on top of that you have excessive repetitions, you're just gonna have a song that just doesn't do it for you. So take this song for example. Just straight, open string chugging, just slow. So building on this idea. So this goes on for about 1:14 of this one idea. Whereas with Shadows Follow, so it takes them like 40 seconds to get into the main riff. So it goes straight into that verse. So this is a sort of building riff. It's pre-chorus, so it's building up to the chorus. Back to where we started, basically. But hey, that was only 2 times, because now we got the chorus. It's like, you just got all this stuff in between that's taken up time, that it's just dragging out whatever you're trying to say. Whereas here, you got the intro, main riff. So you got the 2 verses, short little leading riff, pre-chorus, so it's not just going straight into the pre-chorus. And notice how the pre-chorus, it's building. Chorus. It's not building, the dropping, and then going into the chorus. It's a much better flow of, is this bit, build on that. This part's introducing this idea, and then here's that idea. Song length is also a big part of it. Notice, you know, this song and also Room of Mirrors, which I think is also one of the best songs on the album. They're all sort of staying under that 7-minute mark. I think if the song was 7 minutes long, then it would also start dragging it a little bit. Alright, and there's something that's a good change from the low string chug. And then it's gone, you don't see it again. But then when you compare it to something like this bit, where they introduce that little that comes back later, because it adds a bit of dynamics into your more chuggy stuff. I think sort of in general in this album, just personally saying, this is all subjective opinion, all the sort of more mid-tempo, slower stuff, people are comparing it to like Load Reload, and I definitely get those vibes, but Load Reload, those albums were super bluesy, sort of dad rock, like it had groove, like the slower songs. And this also has some groove, but it's like, it's taking those slower tempos, but applying that to like modern Metallica, sort of just power chord riffs. And to me, that's much less engaging than the Load Reload stuff. Just personally, on this album, any of the sort of faster stuff is sort of more up my alley. Yeah, just the slower, basic power chord riffs is just not very interesting to me. Even Inamorata, which I see people loving heaps, I haven't did a cover of it recently, and I like the song, but I think up until that sort of middle section and onwards, when you have a bit more variety of riffs, like the slower stuff, once that's been going on for 5 minutes, it's a little bit boring. Just personally speaking, don't slander me. This song also has some of the worst solo work from Kirk. And so many of the solos, he just stays on the same spot of the neck for way too long. Like just staying the same little pentatonic box for like a whole big section of the solo. Just like slight variations of, but he's a much more talented musician than I, and a much better paid one. So he can do whatever he wants. So after hearing Shadows Follow, I just personally noticed it rectified a lot of the problems I had with If Darkness Had a Sun, for example, or some of the other singles like Screaming Suicide. And I thought I just wanted to share the reasons why I thought that song was much better, in my opinion, on the composition side of things. But I've seen that this song is also very well received by many people, so if you enjoyed the song, tell us what you think. If you agree or disagree with some of the points I made, that's fine. Yeah, I'd like to hear what you have to say about it. So there's that. I'll have a cover out of this song pretty soon. It should take less time than it did for Inamorata, which was like 5 days, because, you know, 11-minute song, big harmony section, that sort of stuff. So that should be out pretty soon. Subscribe if you want to see that. And thanks for the support.